Hello again. Welcome to the Federal. This time, we are looking at the allegations of saffronization in Kerala politics now being directed at the VD Satheesan led UDF government in the context of its decision to go ahead with the PM SHRI scheme. So, the Kerala government is now implementing PM SHRI in Kerala. The same scheme the UDF said would be thrown into the Arabian Sea if they came to power. And quietly, after a cabinet meeting, it was confirmed. Kerala will proceed with the scheme. The explanation from the Chief Minister, Satheesan, is that the government is essentially forced to continue because the previous LDF administration had already signed the MOU in October 2025 and never withdrew from it. So they inherited a live agreement. Their hands are tied. That's the official line.
The cabinet convened and we have taken a decision to form a cabinet subcommittee to study the matters related to the PM SHRI project. The former government, LDF government, has already entered into an agreement with the central government already, and they received the money from central government also. Now we are forced to continue that project, but on one condition, that we don't allow the central government to intervene in the curriculum freedom.
But Pinarayi Vijayan, the former Chief Minister and now the leader of opposition, who actually signed the MOU, says that's not accurate. And his counter argument deserves serious attention because it's not just political point scoring, it's a procedural claim. Vijayan's position is this: yes, the MOU was signed under significant financial duress. The centre had withheld the Samagra Shiksha funds because Kerala had not signed up for the PM SHRI, and SSK funds are a major component of how the state actually runs its education sector. That pressure was real, so the LDF signed. But, and this is the key part, Vijayan says the government subsequently walked back from the agreement. And more importantly, he argues that signing an MOU is not the same as implementing a scheme. His words on this are fairly precise. He points out that after the MOU, none of the required follow-up steps were taken. No state-level monitoring committees formed, no district-level committees as well. No list of selected schools submitted to the union government. Every one of those steps was left undone, deliberately, he implies. So, his argument is the MOU existed on paper, implementation never began, which means the current government is not continuing something, it's starting something. And that's a policy decision they own. If Vijayan's account is correct and the procedural steps he describes are verifiable, then Satheesan's framing of being compelled by a predecessor's decision starts to look much weaker. You can be compelled by an inherited implementation. It's harder to argue you are compelled by an agreement that was, by your own predecessor's account, effectively dormant. The UDF has not, as of now, produced any communication from the union government that changed the situation after they took office. Vijayan has specifically asked whether the union government issued any fresh directive and has asked the government to make it public if so. That question is still unanswered. The government says it has added riders, conditions that the state will retain control over curriculum and school selection, framing this as a protection for the Kerala model of education. However, the BJP has called it a ploy. They argue that scheme funds from Delhi come with union government's oversight. The degree of autonomy the state actually retains is not something that can simply be declared in a press statement. Here, the bottom line is this: over 200 crore rupees in PM SHRI funds are sanctioned or incoming. That's real money for a state under financial strain. And that's likely the actual driver of this decision. But the UDF's specific justification that LDF locked them into this is now being directly challenged by the man who signed the agreement. A cabinet subcommittee has now been formed to oversee the implementation, the scheme the UDF campaigned against, the scheme the LDF says it had stepped back from. Someone is not telling the full story here, and the public deserves to know which version is true, because the answer determines whether this is a government honoring an obligation or one quietly reversing its own promises and using a convenient excuse to do it. PM SHRI is not the only place where the UDF's secular position has been under strain since taking office. There's also the Vande Mataram episode, which runs parallel to all of this. Full rendition of the song at the cabinet swearing in drew criticism from the left. A shorter version at the assembly session drew a protocol complaint from the governor and fresh criticism from the BJP, a government visibly recalibrating its symbolism, and not cleanly. Then there was the MG University Senate nominations and the Vice Chancellor appointment. The governor overstepped. The government objected, but feebly. Then 2 Vice Chancellors attended an RSS centenary function. The government put out a protest note and stopped there. The latest, the governor called a meeting of state officials ahead of Yoga Day. No executive authority allows him to do that. The leader of opposition flagged it at a press conference. During the LDF tenure, officials had simply refused to attend such meetings. This time, CMO responded only after the opposition spoke up. And what they said was that the government wasn't even aware of the meeting. So, when you line it up, PM SHRI, Vande Mataram, the university nominations and appointments, the RSS function, the Yoga Day meeting, a pattern emerges. Every real test of this government's stated positions has been met with either a formal note or a delayed statement, or simply silence. The protest note is not a position. A rejoinder issued after the opposition speaks is not leadership. And a government that learns about the governor's meeting from a press conference of the LOP has a problem, either with its administration or with its intent. The public can tell the difference.